I'm Wrecker Rick, and you're watching Murphy's Diesel.
We're gonna cross the border into Old Mexico.
Rick from Murphy's Diesel did not start with money or fame. He began in a small diesel shop, surrounded by broken engines and constant pressure. At many points, people expected him to shut down the business or even go bankrupt because the risks were high. But instead of collapsing, something unexpected happened. He turned struggle into growth and slowly moved from rags to riches. How did he survive when everything seemed against him? And why are there still questions surrounding his real net worth today? Join us as we uncover the truth behind this insane rise. The man before the name Wrecker Rick. Before people began to say the name Wrecker Rick with respect, Rick Murphy was simply a man doing hard work with his hands. There were no cameras, no wide audience, and no online praise. His days were quiet but heavy, filled with long hours, loud machines, and serious responsibility. He worked in the world of towing and diesel repair, a place where strength and focus mattered every single day. This was not soft work. It was rough, demanding, and sometimes dangerous. The kind of work where one wrong move could cost money, time, or even a life. Rick stepped into that world not as an expert, but as someone willing to learn. In the early days, his routine followed a simple pattern. He showed up, got his hands dirty, and stayed until the job was done. Whether it was early in the morning or late at night, the work did not wait. Broken trucks needed fixing. Wrecked vehicles needed recovery. Roads had to be cleared. There was no room for excuses. Rick did not learn from books alone. His real lessons came from experience. He stood beside heavy wreckers, watched damaged engines being pulled apart, and slowly began to understand how everything worked. Each mistake became a lesson. Each challenge became a step forward. He saw things most people never see. Overturned trucks lying across highways, engines that had completely failed, vehicles crushed in ways that seemed impossible to fix. These were not easy situations, but Rick stayed calm and focused. He learned how to think clearly under pressure. The environment shaped him. The noise, the heat, the weight of the machines, and the urgency of each job forced him to grow stronger. There was no shortcut, no easy path, only effort, patience, and consistency. As time passed, something began to change. Rick was no longer just following instructions. He started solving problems on his own. When others hesitated, he stepped forward. When an engine looked too far gone, he took it apart piece by piece until he understood what went wrong. People began to notice. It was not a loud recognition. It was quiet respect, the kind that spreads through word of mouth. Someone would say his name when a difficult job came up. Someone else would mention how he handled a tough situation without panic. That was how the name began to grow. The name Wrecker Rick did not come from a plan. It was not created for attention. It came from the work itself, from the way he handled wrecks, from the way he approached broken machines, from the way he stayed steady when things were not easy. He became known for one clear thing. He could take something damaged and understand it. But what happens when raw skill meets an opportunity no one around him fully understood yet? The birth of Murphy's Diesel. Murphy's Diesel did not begin with noise or attention. It started quietly, built from skill, patience, and a clear sense of direction. Rick Murphy did not rush into creating something big. Instead, he focused on doing one thing very well. He chose to center his work on diesel engines, especially the well-known 7.3-liter Power Stroke. This was not a random choice. It was a careful decision. That engine had a strong reputation, but it also came with complex problems that many people struggled to fix. Rick saw an opportunity in that challenge. He did not try to fix every type of engine or take on every kind of job. He stayed focused. He went deep instead of wide. He spent time understanding every part of that engine, how it failed, and how it could be improved. This level of focus slowly set him apart from others. At the same time, something important was happening beside him. Nicky Murphy stepped in to handle the side of the business that many people overlook. While Rick worked with tools and machines, Nicky worked with structure and organization. She managed the daily flow of the business. She handled scheduling, making sure customers knew when their vehicles would be worked on. She took care of finances, keeping everything stable and clear. She spoke with customers, building trust and understanding their needs. This balance became the foundation of Murphy's Diesel. Rick handled the technical side with care and precision. Nikki built the system that allowed that work to grow into something steady. Together, they created a rhythm that worked. In the early days, the shop was not widely known. The reach was small. Most customers came from nearby areas. There were no long waiting lists, no large team, just a steady flow of work that came in little by little. Each job mattered. Every engine that came into the shop was treated with attention. Rick did not rush through repairs. He took his time to understand the problem fully before fixing it. This approach meant that customers began to trust him. Trust did not grow overnight. It built slowly, one completed job at a time. One satisfied customer would tell another, then another. The name Murphy's Diesel began to spread, not through loud promotion, but through quiet recommendation. The shop itself was simple. There were no flashy signs or large setups, just tools, machines, and the sound of work being done. It was a place where effort showed in every corner. As time passed, the work became more consistent. More people began to seek out Rick specifically for his knowledge of the 7.3-liter engine. They did not just want a repair, they wanted the job done right. This growing demand did not change Rick's approach. He stayed focused. He continued to learn, improve, and refine his skills. He paid attention to details that others might miss. That level of care became part of the identity of Murphy's Diesel. Meanwhile, Nikki continued to strengthen the business behind the scenes. She made sure everything ran smoothly. She created a system that could handle growth without losing quality. Her role was just as important as the work in the shop. Together, they built more than a service. They built a system based on expertise and trust. There were no shortcuts, no sudden breakthroughs, just steady progress. The kind that is easy to overlook, but strong enough to last. As Murphy's Diesel grew, something began to change again. The work was no longer just local. People outside the immediate area started to hear about the shop. Interest began to spread beyond what they had first imagined. If the business was growing steadily, what pushed Rick to step into the unpredictable world of online content? The YouTube gamble that changed everything. Rick Murphy did not enter YouTube with a grand announcement or a carefully planned launch date. The move happened during the growth phase of Murphy's Diesel, when the shop was already gaining steady traction through local and regional work. At that point, Rick had built a strong reputation around diesel repair, especially focused on the 7.3-liter Power Stroke engine. The decision to create content came from a practical need. Customers were asking similar questions again and again. Many did not understand why their engines failed or what went wrong inside complex diesel systems. Instead of repeating the same explanations in person, Rick chose to document his process and share it. The early videos followed a clear pattern. Rick recorded full engine teardowns. He showed damaged injectors, worn components, and failed systems without cutting away from the difficult parts. He explained how each piece worked and why it failed. These were not short clips. They were detailed breakdowns that followed the job from start to finish. He also focused on diagnostics. When a truck arrived with a problem, Rick walked through the steps needed to identify the issue. He explained how to read symptoms, how to test systems, and how to avoid common mistakes. This helped viewers understand not just what to fix, but how to think. Another key part of his content was real-world repair scenarios. These were actual jobs from Murphy's Diesel. Trucks came into the shop with serious problems, and Rick documented the entire process. There was no staging and no scripted outcome. This approach set his channel apart. At the time, much of the online automotive content focused on quick fixes or simplified explanations. Rick's videos were different. He showed the full reality of diesel work. The engines were dirty, parts were worn, repairs took time, nothing was hidden. That honesty built trust. Viewers began to rely on his content because it reflected real situations. Instead of presenting perfect results, Rick showed failures and explained them clearly. This made his work relatable and useful. As the channel grew, the impact on Murphy's Diesel became clear. Customers started reaching out from outside the local area. Instead of relying only on nearby clients, the shop began to receive inquiries from across different states. Truck owners who had watched the videos felt confident in Rick's ability before ever meeting him. In some cases, vehicles were transported long distances to reach the shop. This was not common in the early days, but it became more frequent as the channel expanded. The content acted as proof of skill and consistency. This shift changed the structure of the business. Murphy's Diesel was no longer just a local repair shop. It became a destination for specific types of diesel work. The focus on the 7.3-liter Power Stroke engine attracted a niche audience that valued expertise. At the same time, the YouTube channel continued to grow. Each video added to a library of knowledge. Viewers returned regularly, forming a loyal audience that followed the work closely. The business model began to evolve. Content creation supported the shop by bringing in customers. The shop, in turn, provided real material for content. This created a cycle that strengthened both sides. The more Rick worked, the more he could share. With attention increasing, Rick did not just expand, he started building something far bigger than a repair shop. Building machines that broke the internet. As Murphy's Diesel continued to grow, Rick Murphy reached a point where fixing trucks was no longer enough. The shop had built a strong name through repairs and diagnostics, especially with the 7.3-liter Power Stroke engine. But Rick was not the kind of man to stay in one place for too long. His mind was always working, always searching for something bigger to take on. That next step came in the form of building. Rick began to move beyond repairs and into full-scale fabrication. Instead of only fixing what was broken, he started creating machines that could handle the kind of work most people avoided. This shift did not happen overnight. It came from years of experience, understanding what worked and what failed in real recovery situations. One of the most ambitious projects to come out of Murphy's Diesel was a massive off-road wrecker. This was not a standard tow truck. It was designed for extreme conditions, where normal equipment could not survive. The goal was clear from the beginning. Build something that could go anywhere and recover anything. The process of building this machine was intense and detailed. It started with a custom-built chassis. This was the foundation. It had to be strong enough to carry heavy loads and stable enough to handle rough terrain. Every part of the structure was carefully planned and assembled to support extreme use. Then came the components. Rick did not rely on standard parts. He chose heavy-duty, high-strength materials that could handle pressure, weight, and stress. The goal was durability. Every piece had to perform under conditions where failure was not an option. The systems inside the machine were completely re-engineered. This meant rethinking how everything worked together. Power delivery, control systems, recovery equipment, and structural balance all had to be aligned. It was not just about building something big. It was about building something that worked perfectly under pressure. Throughout the process, Rick documented everything. The camera followed each stage of the build. From the early planning to the final assembly, viewers were able to see how the machine came together. Nothing was hidden. Each step was shown clearly, allowing the audience to understand the level of effort involved. This is where things began to change in a big way. The content became more than just educational. It became exciting. Each new update brought suspense. Viewers waited to see what would happen next. Would the machine hold together? Would it perform as expected? Would it handle the kind of work it was built for? When the time came to test the wrecker, the tension was real. This was not a simple test. The machine was pushed into situations that demanded strength and control. Heavy vehicles, difficult terrain, and high-pressure recovery tasks became the proving ground. Each successful test added to the reputation of Murphy's Diesel. The audience grew even larger. People were no longer watching only to learn about engines. They were watching to see powerful machines in action. They were watching to see limits being tested. This marked a turning point. With this growth came new challenges. Building machines at this level required more time, more resources, and more responsibility. The stakes were higher. A small mistake in a repair job could be fixed. A mistake in a massive build could lead to serious problems. What does it really cost to operate at the edge, where one mistake can mean disaster? The dangerous reality behind the camera. On screen, the work at Murphy's Diesel looks powerful and exciting. Large trucks move through rough ground. Heavy chains tighten. Massive machines pull what seems impossible. Each moment feels controlled and strong. But away from the camera, the reality is very different. Recovery work is not simple. It is not calm. It is not safe. It is a world where every movement matters, and every mistake can lead to serious consequences. Rick Murphy steps into that world again and again, not for show, but because the work must be done. The ground itself is often the first challenge. Recovery jobs do not happen on smooth roads or stable surfaces. They happen on loose dirt, wet mud, steep slopes, and uneven ground. A truck can shift without warning. A tire can sink. Balance can change in seconds. Rick has to read the terrain before making a move. He studies how the ground will react under pressure. He thinks ahead, planning each step before touching any equipment. This level of awareness is not optional. It is necessary. Then there are the vehicles. These are not small machines. They are large, heavy, and often damaged. Some are stuck deep in difficult places. Others are overturned or broken in ways that make recovery harder. The weight alone creates risk. A single wrong pull can cause a vehicle to move in an unexpected direction. Rick works with equipment designed to handle this weight. Winch systems pull with great force. Cables stretch under tension. Every connection must be secure. Every angle must be correct. There is no room for guessing. A winch line under pressure carries serious danger. If something fails, it can snap back with force. This is why Rick moves carefully. He checks each setup. He makes sure every part is in place before applying power. Timing is also critical. Many recovery jobs happen at unexpected hours. Calls can come early in the morning or late at night. A truck may be blocking a road. A driver may be stranded in a difficult location. Rick does not choose the timing. He responds when needed. Working at these hours brings its own challenges. Darkness limits visibility. Weather can change quickly. Rain can turn solid ground into mud. Wind can affect balance and control. Each condition adds another layer of difficulty. This work is not staged. There are no second takes, no controlled environment. Every situation is real, and every decision carries weight. Rick cannot pause and reset. He must act with confidence and care in the moment. The risks are always present. There is physical danger in every job. Moving heavy equipment, working around tensioned cables, and standing near unstable vehicles require strength and awareness. One wrong step can lead to injury. There is also financial responsibility. Each recovery involves valuable equipment. A mistake can cause damage. Repairs can be costly. The pressure to perform correctly is always there. Then there is the emotional side. Rick is not just working with machines. He is often helping people in difficult situations. Drivers may feel stressed, tired, or worried. They rely on him to solve the problem. Despite all this, Rick continues to show up. He does not avoid risk. Over time, he has learned how to manage these situations with calm focus. So how does someone turn danger, skill, and content into real wealth? The real money behind the brand. Rick Murphy's journey did not turn into success by chance. It was built step by step, with careful choices and steady growth. While many people see the videos and the machines, The real strength of Murphy's Diesel lies in how the business works behind the scenes. The income does not come from one place. It comes from many directions, all connected to the same foundation of skill and trust. At the center is diesel repair and diagnostics. This is where everything began. Trucks come into the shop with serious problems, and Rick works through each issue with care. He studies the engine, finds the fault, and fixes it the right way. This service brings in steady income because it solves real problems for real people. Next is custom tuning. This part of the business focuses on improving how engines perform. Rick creates tuning files that adjust how the engine runs. These changes can improve power, efficiency, and reliability when done correctly. Customers who want better performance look for this level of detail, and they trust Murphy's Diesel to deliver it. Performance upgrades add another layer. Some customers want more than repairs. They want their trucks to perform at a higher level. This can involve installing stronger parts, improving systems, and making adjustments that increase capability. Each upgrade requires knowledge and precision, and each completed job adds value to the business. There is also merchandise. Murphy's Diesel has built a name that people recognize. Supporters of the brand choose to buy items connected to that name. This adds another stream of income while also spreading awareness. It allows the audience to feel connected to the work being done. Then there are high-value recovery operations. These jobs are not simple. They involve large equipment, difficult conditions, and serious responsibility. Because of the level of skill required, these operations carry higher value. Each successful recovery strengthens the reputation of the business and contributes to its earnings. All these streams work together. They are not separate pieces. They support each other in a clear cycle. The YouTube channel plays an important role in this system. It is not the main source of income, but it brings attention. People watch the videos, learn from them, and begin to trust Rick's work. That trust turns viewers into customers. As more customers come in, the business grows stronger. With more resources, Rick is able to take on bigger projects and create more detailed content. That content then reaches more people, and the cycle continues. Content brings customers. Customers bring revenue. Revenue supports better content. This balance is what makes the model strong. By the year 2026, the value of Rick's work is reflected in his estimated net worth. It is believed to fall between $2 million and $5 million. This value is not based on one moment of success. It is tied to the business itself, built over time through consistent effort. Every part of Murphy's Diesel contributes to that value. The shop, the equipment, the reputation, and the audience all play a role. Together, they form a system that continues to grow. But growth at this level brings new challenges. With money, fame, and influence growing, what happens when the brand becomes bigger than the man? The life behind the brand. Murphy's Diesel did not grow into a known name by chance. It grew slowly, step by step, through hard work, long days, and a strong sense of family. Even as the business expanded and gained attention, it never lost its personal nature. At its core, it is still a family working together, sharing both the pressure and the progress. Rick Murphy is at the center of the work. He is the one handling the mechanical side of the business. Every day, he deals with engines, repairs, and complex diesel problems that require focus and experience. His role is hands-on and physically demanding. He is the one people see when machines arrive broken and leave fixed, but he does not do it alone. Nikki Murphy plays a key role in keeping everything organized. She manages the operations of the business, making sure that the daily flow of work stays structured. She handles scheduling, customer communication, and planning. Her role ensures that the shop does not fall into confusion as the workload increases. While Rick focuses on the engines, Nikki keeps the system steady. Other family members also appear in the business environment. Some take part in content, while others support behind the scenes. This creates a workplace that feels more like a shared life than a distant company. It is not just a business structure, it is a family working in the same direction. This is one of the reasons Murphy's Diesel feels different to many people watching from the outside. It does not feel artificial or distant. It feels real. Viewers see real people, real work, and real effort happening in real time. That connection builds a strong sense of trust and familiarity. But with growth comes pressure. As Murphy's Diesel becomes more widely known, expectations increase. More people begin to watch, and more people begin to form opinions. Customers expect consistent service. Viewers expect regular content. Each group has its own needs, and both require attention. This creates constant pressure. Every day brings new demands. Engines need repair. Projects need progress. Videos need updates. Communication must remain clear. Nothing can be ignored or delayed for too long. At the same time, the nature of the work itself adds responsibility. Diesel repair is not simple or predictable. Each engine brings a different challenge. Each job requires focus and care. Mistakes are not easily fixed, and delays can affect customers directly. Balancing all of this is not easy. Rick must divide his time between working in the shop and maintaining the online presence of the business. He has to ensure that the quality of his work does not drop, while also keeping the audience engaged. This requires discipline and focus every single day. The price of staying real. Murphy's Diesel did not rise through polished branding or carefully shaped public image. It grew through direct speech, honest explanations, and work that was shown exactly as it was. Rick Murphy built his reputation by being blunt, clear, and unfiltered. That honesty became the reason many people trusted him, but it also became the reason for criticism as the audience grew. As more people began to follow Murphy's Diesel, not everyone agreed with Rick's approach. His way of speaking is direct and sometimes very sharp. Some viewers see it as honest and helpful because it removes confusion. Others feel it can sound too harsh or too confrontational, especially in online discussions where tone matters a lot. His strong opinions on diesel repair also create disagreement. In the diesel world, there are many different methods and styles. Or points out what he believes is wrong, it often leads to debate. These conversations are not small. They spread quickly online, especially on platforms where opinions are shared widely and instantly. Criticism also comes from the business side. Murphy's Diesel offers specialized services, and that level of work requires skill, time, and experience. Because of this, pricing is sometimes questioned by viewers who compare expectations with reality. For some, the cost reflects quality. For others, it becomes a point of discussion. Wait times also add to the conversation. As the business grew, more customers began arriving than the shop could handle immediately. This created delays for some jobs. While the work remained consistent in quality, not everyone could be served quickly. That naturally led to frustration in some cases. Another challenge is balance. Many people online wonder how Rick manages both a busy workshop and a growing online presence. He is responsible for repairs, diagnostics, and large builds inside the shop, while also creating content that shows the process to a wide audience. Managing both sides requires constant attention and careful time management. None of these issues are scandals. They are natural outcomes of growth and visibility. When a business becomes widely known, every action is seen, discussed, and judged by more people. Despite criticism, Rick does not change his core approach. He continues to speak directly. He continues to show the work as it is. He does not try to make everything look perfect or polished. This consistency is what keeps the identity of Murphy's Diesel strong, even when opinions differ. But while public criticism is visible, another layer of pressure exists behind the scenes. Running Murphy's Diesel at its current level is demanding. The shop deals with a high number of customers, each expecting quality service. At the same time, the online audience expects regular updates and content. These two demands run side by side and require constant attention. Large projects and recovery work add more pressure. These jobs involve heavy equipment, high cost, and careful planning. Mistakes can be expensive and sometimes dangerous. Every decision must be made with focus and responsibility. Family involvement also shapes the business. Murphy's Diesel is not just a workplace. It is a family-run system. This means work and personal life often overlap. Discussions about jobs, schedules, and challenges continue outside the shop, making it harder to separate business from home life. Financial pressure is always present. Custom builds, equipment, and repairs require investment. Each project must be planned carefully to avoid loss. This creates ongoing responsibility to make the right decisions. There is also physical and mental strain. Long working hours, demanding repairs, and constant problem-solving take energy. Recovery work adds unpredictability, requiring quick thinking in difficult conditions. Through all of this, one thing remains constant: authenticity. Rick continues to show real work without hiding mistakes or struggles. He does not adjust his personality to please everyone. He keeps his communication clear and honest, even when it leads to disagreement. This honesty is the foundation of trust, but it also carries weight. Staying real while growing a business means balancing expectations, pressure, and identity at the same time. If you enjoyed this video, like and subscribe, and also click the next video shown on your screen.